Okay, how you doing? It's Phil with New York Rocks, and we're here with Keith, right? Keith.
Yes, my name is Keith LeBeau. I am a World Trade Center first responder volunteer. I did the first 100 hours on the pile from 9/11 to 9/15/01. And what I have here in my hand is a book of pictures that I took from my time at Ground Zero.
Now you documented the whole time that you were down there. You took some pictures, and they're actually significant pictures of, you know, of the tragedy.
The tragedy itself, yes.
Okay, well, let's go through the pictures, and let's show them from the, and go one by one. We'll go through each picture, and you talk a little bit about the pictures and, you know, of that moment that happened right there. Go ahead. Okay.
This first picture that you see here is up the block from where the northeast corner of the complex once stood. Now what you see here is a New York City bus that was basically vaporized in the conflagration as the buildings came down. Now, second picture that you see was literally taken only a few minutes after World Trade 7 fell, and that's the facade of World Trade 7.
So that actually was on the day of September 11th.
These pictures were taken on the day of September 11th.
Okay.
Now, the next pictures.
Good.
This one is, as you can see here, is the debris sticking out of a rip of one of the buildings, and this debris here, in the rip, is from the Trade Center itself. It's from the actual buildings. Now below is the northeast corner of the Trade Center itself. This is actually the customs building that once stood. And you can see there's a burnt ESU truck here in the front. You see some NYPD guys. Next set.
Cool.
This is looking from the north side, looking towards where the complex once was. This was part of the building.
There's a lot of these buildings, they're not standing there no more. They're no longer there.
None of them are.
Yeah, okay.
The entire World Trade Center complex was completely flattened. It was taken out. It was just too structurally damaged. What most people don't know, in this building, on top, there was a huge hole punched through the building to the foundation floor itself, because the debris, when it came down, actually tore through it. It just went right into it. It's like smashing a brick, basically. And you can see part of the damage right here to the building. What you don't see, and what I couldn't do, is in an aerial view, you would see a lot of the middle of this building was gone. And there was, and then on the back side where you couldn't see, the building, the tear itself that goes through and in. Next, this is Church Street. This is the customs building. As you can see, there's damage to it, but this entire building was burned as the collapse happened. Next is where you can see the tear in the building itself.
I know you got a lot of pictures here. This is good.
Now, this is looking, this is the southeast corner, looking towards where like down here inside the cloud would be where the sphere once stood. Where the plaza was.
They actually recovered it.
Yeah, they actually recovered the sphere. It had a hole punched in it, but it's still around.
That's right.
This itself used to be called Liberty Park. It's now Zuccotti Park. They cleaned this out, and when this was all taken out, all the debris was gotten rid of. What they had done was they started bringing the body bags out and laying the body bags out there to be brought to the morgue.
And they found the businessman with the bronze statue. They put it back.
Yeah, he's still in Zuccotti Park.
Zuccotti Park.
Now, this is directly across the street from the South Tower.
Wow.
As you can see, all the windows and everything are damaged.
Yeah.
There's right in here. There was debris that like parts of the building was sent in.
Yeah.
Next picture.
I mean, it was flying all over the place.
Yeah, it was going.
I mean, even though the building went straight down pretty much, and the piece fell off the side, you know, a lot of
because of the height. It
the
was
beams
going.
were
It was
flapping
coming out. Yeah,
it was shooting out.
coming down.
Right.
We actually found debris 4 blocks from the site itself. That showed you how high it was coming from.
Yeah. I mean, it was like 107 floors, right?
Yes,
the
it
towers?
was. It was over 1,100 feet.
Yeah.
So you know, the stuff from the top was falling from that height, and as things fall, they go outward. Now, this part here, this is part of the facade of the South Tower itself. And as you can see, there's like nothing behind it.
Yeah.
It's just totally gone. The building's
like
here,
the
windows are
skeleton
blown.
of the outside
skeleton
of the
building.
Right. Well,
This, what we had done was, there was guys with front end loaders and big forklifts. What they were doing was they were clearing roadways for us to get heavy equipment in and out.
Right.
And they were piling the cars up on the sides of some of the side streets, like over by West Street, you know, Washington, all of those over there.
Right.
As you can see here, and this picture is 3 days. This is the second day I was down there.
Right.
As you can see, there's a light on the car. The next picture, right behind the two firefighters, it's the same car. The light's on, and the alarm was going off.
Right.
And it's a Jersey car, and it's a Mercedes. It was fun. I laughed when I saw that thing.
Yeah.
Next.
They're from Jersey.
Yeah, figures from Jersey. Leaves their alarm on. This is the walkway that was stretched across West Street.
I remember it very well.
As you can see right here, there is there's a bunch of debris right here. That was what's left of an ESU truck. It was pulverized as the stuff came down. This is another shot of the same place, but showing part of the facade that was still standing.
Now, was this the one tower that had the facade and that piece? There was another part.
Both were identical to each other. And they both had the identical facade itself. So when you saw it, it was just two massive towers. Now, this here is the Deutsche Bank building, which no longer exists.
They took it down.
They had to take it down because it was too structurally damaged.
Sure.
This rip right here is over 100 feet. If I had taken a shot looking directly into the hole, you would have saw that a piece of the building, when it came down, was like a knife and went through the building like this, almost to the exterior wall. This is VC Street. This is one of the financial center buildings. Right here, as you can see, was all imported marble. That marble was vaporized off the side of the building. It was just totally gone.
Now, what day was this?
This is the second day.
Later,
this is the next day.
Second day.
Second day. Now, this here, as you can see, this is part of where the pit was.
Second day, right?
This is the second day. You can see all the smoke and everything coming up. This heavy smoke that's coming up is what's killing people.
Yeah. Well, it's all dust and debris.
It's dust.
Still from
stuff like benzene,
chemicals,
mercury, asbestos, PCBs, everything that was down there that was basically a solid at one point was vaporized into a dust, and what that did was it went into an aerosol form, which means it went into the air and became like a vapor.
Sure.
So we were breathing this stuff in. We didn't know what was going to happen. We just went in, we were doing what we had to do. They were handing us the paper face mask, and we were just going like this every 5 minutes.
Yeah, sure, you can't breathe.
And at one point I just took it off. I just left it off because it was no use.
And it was like protocol to be there because you were working. You had to be there.
Well, I just happened to be in the area.
Were you working? Were you working for a union or anything?
I was
so
not.
You were like a volunteer.
I just happened to be in the area. And just ran right over because I had 16 friends down there.
Wow.
And I said, you know, I can't turn around and leave and know that they're in trouble.
Right.
You know, I was brought up a different way.
Right.
So doing all this, I said, let me go back. I gotta go in there because I can't leave my friends there.
Yeah.
And out of the 16, I found 4.
Right.
So,
well, it was very honorable thing to do, to go and be there and show up.
This is an exterior. This is a shot of the exterior of the facade.
Were you in the city that day when it actually happened?
Nearby.
You were right nearby.
I was right nearby.
You seen it. You actually witnessed
I saw
the
from the
towers
first plane hit.
Right.
I saw the first plane hit. I was standing on Broadway and Liberty when the second one hit.
Right. I would have did the same thing.
I was standing at the same spot.
I was in Staten Island.
I was at the same spot when I looked up to see the towers start to come down.
Right.
I started running across.
Right.
You know, I started running. The smartest thing I was able to do was to run towards the South Street Seaport.
Right.
I didn't make it very far. I made it to a doorway, and I pulled my shirt up over my face, and I started praying. I said, God, if you're going to kill me, please do it now because I don't want to suffer.
Right.
And, you know, the black cloud went by. I'm like coughing. I'm going like
There's
this.
There's probably so many people like yourself out there, you know, haven't come forward. But I appreciate you doing this. And this is not just for you, and it's for everybody that you're doing this. And it's like, people need to know this. This is information.
As you can see, this is part of the facade.
Right.
Now, if you look right here, you can see parts of the building itself sticking out of here, and that is over 100 feet up. And right in here is where the Winter Garden was. The Winter Garden got severely damaged in the collapse.
It was a theater?
No, it was a Winter Garden.
Oh,
it's like an area that people can go hang out. You know, there's connected to buildings.
Like the park was.
Something like the park, yeah, but it has trees and everything inside.
Okay.
It's a glassed-in place. I'll show you an
all right. It was part of the building.
Yeah.
Building.
This here is the actual pit itself.
Right. And you can see the guys right there.
Yeah, you can see all the construction workers and everything. The next picture.
I mean, besides the firemen, police who were down there, and volunteers like yourself, there were other guys down there volunteering and construction workers and guys from the MTA. Name a couple of the agencies that you've seen down there besides cops and firemen, because I mean this
FBI,
right?
DEA,
right?
Construction,
ironworkers,
carpenters, laborers,
right?
You know,
MTA people.
The MTA guys were there.
Right.
The guys from Verizon were there.
Right.
The Teamsters were down there with the trucks.
Right. Sanitation.
Sanitation was with us.
Yeah.
There was also, you know, the building cleaners. They came down afterwards when, you know, when everything was when everything was in it's set in order that they can actually go and these people actually went into the buildings and started cleaning the buildings from the inside out.
So it was a group effort. It was more than just firemen, police.
There was more than just cops and firemen there.
Okay. All right. So people need to know that.
Now this picture here.
All right. Go ahead.
That is the hand of a cop. I was taking a distance shot.
Right.
And as I was going to take the shot, the cop went like this in front of the camera.
Right. And you were like, wow.
And I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I said, you just ruined my shot. He goes, look. I look in the foreground and they were bringing a body out.
Yeah.
So I said, you know, after that I said, thank you for not doing it. Yeah. Because you didn't want to see this.
Sure.
Now, this is part of, you know, the
pile,
the part of the south side of the pit, and you can see the heavy smoke. I mean, you can't see through this stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes, unless it's like really heavy, you can actually see through smoke. But in this case, you couldn't.
Was it hot? Was it really hot down there? Like it must have been. Like,
it was.
I mean, your feet must have been. Your hands. You had to get
my
protected.
boots at one point started to
melt.
Bottom started to melt.
Yeah. Sure.
As you can see, there's all, you know, construction workers and everything, and there's actually a crane here in the front.
I mean, just to get people down there to help clean up and help remove the debris and the buckets, I heard, and everything, the pail and the bucket brigade and everything. I mean, just to get, how would you get equipment in that area? It was so hard. You had to clear paths.
Like I said, we had the heavy construction guys. You know, the heavy equipment came in and started clearing the areas out so we can make roadways. Another group I'd like to mention is, I'll mention one name. Her name's Laura Horowitz. She was on a group called the Bubble Girls, who were doing basically they were, like, we would come out of the area and they would like feed us, take care of us, we'd go through decontamination. We had an area set up called the Taj Mahal.
And they were caretakers. She was like a caretaker.
She was a caretaker for
everybody. You guys must have been exhausted because guys were like working tirelessly. My friend Alan Grandy, he worked with as a plumber, and tirelessly resting at St. Paul's Church. They had to go and rest because they were working around the clock, a lot of the guys,
that's when I was the first 100 hours, there were times where I would get so tired, I'd sit down where I was at the pile and actually catch a few minutes sleep and then just jerk awake and like, you know, what the hell's going on, and go back to what I was doing.
Well, let's get through the pictures because we have a big book here.
Now, as you can see, there's 3 guys up in a basket near where the Deutsche Tower building. They're looking at this. And they're trying to assess what's going on.
Let me get in there.
And
zoom in. See that?
What was funny was these guys said it's starting to shift, it's starting to come down. Caused the panic. We all started running. We left them in the basket.
What are you going to do? You know?
Like we came back a little bit later.
Can't help the basket right now.
Couldn't help them, but we can get the hell out of there. But it was funny to see that. Now,
I mean, it didn't fall, but it was like, oh, I thought maybe.
You know, we cut it down.
Did they say, oh, it looked like they were the ones that telling you?
They were the ones that said it to us.
Telling us, get out of the way.
We just took off.
Wow. It's amazing.
There's over 200 people in this shot. And as you can see, this is actually looking towards the middle, the center of the pit itself. The pit was called the reason it was called the pit was because on the southwest corner where the South Tower once stood, the debris went through and hit the floor of the sub-basement, which is the foundation. It went over 70 feet in and left a huge hole there. And you could see the slurry wall and everything in there.
I mean, the impact must have been so intense that when it fell, the tower fell, it made a hole, but it went under the ground. All the beams went under the ground. It went all the way down and made a hole that the impact was so great that it actually, there was a pit, there was a hole.
The one thing that really saved us from like a major disaster was nothing hit the slurry wall. The slurry wall is 3 feet thick. It holds the Hudson River back from going into the trade center.
Thank God.
Had that thing been compromised, the wall would have fell, and all of us would have just We would have drowned there. Because the water would have come through. And the other thing it would have done is it would have went into the tunnel of the PAD train and shot through at such a point that the first building it would have hit, it would have took that building down with it. It was like a cannon.
And everything downtown would have got flooded beyond belief.
Probably by now they would have been able to get all that stuff out of it. No.
Well, we look at the towers fell straight down in a way too. They didn't just topple over. There would have millions of people would have died.
It would have probably been about.
Everybody's going to work.
There would probably have been about 100,000 dead by then.
Absolutely.
This is a bit later. As you can see, what they're doing is they're removing the corner of the wall that they have to do. They had to literally take out the corner pieces, the floor and everything, to start work on that corner building.
What building was that now?
That was right by the Winter Garden.
The Winter Garden was that building that was to the side and had that glass.
This is the Winter Garden itself.
Now I know where you're talking about.
You can see.
I remember
in this picture. You can see right here. that
Right.
there's floors missing. The
Right.
floors had to be taken out to the shelf.
Yeah, that was on the other side of the street.
They had to take out the.
That was towards the water.
Yeah, they had to take out the facade,
Right.
and they had to take out some of the beams to put them back in. As you can see, it's just two pictures of the same thing.
Right. Let's go to the next page. Let's go to the next. We got a lot of things to get through. That's why. Go ahead. Explain these.
This is a couple of months later.
All right.
This is the debris being removed, and you can see it with the trucks.
Now finally they got a pad.
They
kind of, that was the pit. That was the pit.
That was the pit itself then.
Yeah. I mean, but they're still digging out beams still, right?
Yeah, you can see it right here. They're still digging out stuff.
Yeah.
Because you can see part of the facade right here and over here.
Buried. I mean, the impact, like you said, it just impacted everything, went down and pushed everything down. It went under the ground. It's just lucky that they didn't compromise their water tunnel.
A 1,700
sure.
An 1,100-foot building, compacted in places to 40 feet.
Right.
There was literally steel that was fused together from the fall itself, just twisted and everything.
Let's get through these.
This is, you can see part of the facade and everything around it's being dug out. You can see pieces here and here.
Down here,
and that's the famous flag.
I mean, that flag was there, or they put that there?
This flag was put that there.
They put that. Go ahead.
Construction put that there. This is just basically the guys assembling a crane to start using inside the pit itself.
And down here,
same thing. Just crane being assembled right here and right here.
All right, go ahead. What we got?
Same thing here. Just guys assembling the crane. A buddy of mine that was on this crew that was assembling.
There were probably a lot of cranes, a couple of them, right?
Oh, there was quite a few down there. More just assembling the crane. And this picture, I found this picture last night, and I forgot that I had taken it. I took this picture from the Brooklyn side of the river in a friend's car as we were moving. I took that shot.
When was that? Because the towers are up. That was
early 90s.
All right.
Around 91, 92.
Wow.
But
I want to thank you for your time and your for all your efforts, man. You know, it's like
it wasn't just my effort alone. There was a lot of people like John Field from Demolition, who became the leader for the Feel Good Foundation, who was instrumental in starting the Zadroga Acts, which for people like me is a godsend because, going through all of the health issues and stuff with me, I can no longer work because of my time in hell at the pit.
Yeah, I mean, besides, physically, mentally,
physically and mentally for a lot, they're a lot worse off than me. There's a lot more that they're suffering from cancer.
Right, and what got into your system from being down there working on that in those conditions
a lot of the
with
stuff,
the vapor, besides the things that were airborne, I know, because
it's like
deadly, asbestos.
People are getting cancers. People like me, kind of lucky. I haven't gotten cancer yet. And I'm praying to God.
But it says dormant. A lot of things with asbestos takes 10 years and it comes up.
I know my
family member died from mesothelioma, and it took over 10 years, and it came, and it was very bad. I think to talk about.
It's just an insidious thing.
Right.
But it's without people like John. And the Feel Good Foundation, Voices,
and informative. And people need to information,
children,
be informed.
They need to stay informed. And if there's anybody out there that was at ground zero and they are feeling getting sick,
either they worked there or if they didn't work there, you didn't have to be working.
Didn't have to work
you could
there.
live down there. You could have been down there. Right, correct.
There's a program called the World Trade Center Medical Program. There's a number on that they can go to online and look all this up, and they can register. And the Trade Center program will help.
But you have to go down. You have to take this initiative.
You have to take the time, and you have to make the effort. Because if you're sick and you know it's from down there, you go through a process. They'll make sure that it was 9/11 related.
Yeah.
And once that's done, then they'll start taking care of you.
That's right.
I
want people to find out. I want to thank you very much for the interview. And
no problem.
I don't want people to find out if they want to talk to you and find out and get in touch with you. Can they get in touch with you? Let everybody know. If there's a way of emailing you, maybe, and get in touch with you, or if they want to call you. I don't know if you want to leave your number.
Is I'm just one of many.
Right.
I'm just an advocate.
In case they want to talk to you, right?
They can always look me up online. All they have to do is look up Keith LeBeau,
right,
and then put in 9/11 right after it, and they'll see me online. They'll see what the interviews that I can do that I've done, and they can always contact me that way.
Well, I want to thank you very much for your time, and God bless you, man.
I didn't sneeze, but thanks.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Phil.
Bye-bye.